If you've seen any of our previous stenciling videos, you know we've done a few cool tile looks, but they all had one thing in common. We started with a white base layer and then did a colored stenciled pattern on top. So today we're flipping it, mixing it up. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to do a base color that is not white, but we're actually going to be doing blue, and then we're going to do a few different shades within the stencil pattern. Now you always want to make sure to clean your tile really well. You can do this with a mop or a sponge and soap if you need to get in some specific areas. And then for supplies, you're going to need your paint, a roller, your paint tray, a stirring stick, and of course your stencil. And we're going to be using this really pretty deep blue color that I know our white stencil pattern is going to pop really well on. So the first thing you want to do is prime your tile and then completely cover it in paint for your base layer. And as you can see, we're definitely going to have to do 2 coats. The number of coats you do might vary depending on the original color of your tile and the kind of paint you're using, but 2 coats did the trick perfectly for me. The stencil we're going to be using is our Daffodil Polkadot tile stencil, and what's really cool about this is it's actually inspired by textile from Norway. I love that the daffodil flower is really simple, but the polka dot border adds a lot of really cool ornate details. And now that we're ready to get stenciling, I'm going to pour my white paint into my painting tray, and I'm going to be filling in the flowers completely white as well as random dots on the polka dot border with white. And now, before I lift up my stencil and move it on to a new area, I'm going to mix my white and blue together to make a really light blue and go in and fill some of the detailed areas with the light blue. And you can do as many shades as you want and mix as many colors of blue as you want. This is going to add a lot of dimension that we wouldn't get from just having a blue base and a white pattern. Having the different shades of blue, I think, will tie the base color and the stencil pattern color together very nicely. And as I've talked about in some of our previous tile stenciling tutorials, you can do it really smooth and blend the colors really well, or go in pretty splotchy with a brush if you want more of a distressed vintage look. And before we move our stencil to a new area, you want to make sure that the area we just painted is completely dry. And normally you'd want to line up the registration marks to make sure your pattern repeats continuously, but because the stencil is the perfect size for each of our tiles, we just need to center the stencil with the tile in order for the pattern to feel continuous. And then I'm just going to repeat the pattern and the shading throughout the entirety of my tile. And here is the final look. I think doing the different shades for the stencil really added a lot of depth and dimension to the tile look. Overall, this pattern really reminds me of a quilt, which is generally associated with being very homey, but also a very non-traditional but cool form of art. I could definitely see this in a bathroom space or even as a kitchen backsplash if the tiles were smaller. Head to our website to check out more of our stencils, and don't forget to tag us on social media with your stencil art.